seeing how that story evolved in Switzerland can teach us a lot about how our tech is different from centralized banking, and why what happened to the banking sector in Switzerland shouldn't happen to the tech we're building.
Join us at ETHDam to hear from Fatemeh, a crypto lawyer who champions privacy. What can the tech world learn from Swiss banking secrecy? Let's tune in.
My name is Fatemeh Fannizadeh, and I'm a crypto lawyer. The main message I tried to convey was that there are parallels to be drawn between the traditional banking sector and how they dealt with privacy, especially in Switzerland, with what is called the banking secrecy, and the crypto privacy tech that we're seeing or using or building, especially within DeFi. And I think by drawing these parallels, then we're able to think of crypto privacy tech in very different ways. So somebody said during my talk that the Swiss banking sector was the original tornado cash. And I like this thought because I believe that the Swiss banking privacy, when it was in full force, was the closest that we ever had within the fiat sector, at least in Europe, to self-custody. And I think that seeing how that story evolved in Switzerland can teach us a lot about the way to deal with it, but also teaches us a lot about how our tech is different from centralized banking, and why what happened to the banking sector in Switzerland shouldn't happen to the tech we're building. I think one point that we need to pay a lot of attention to is that in the banking sector, governments and other law enforcement went after the banks and the bankers. And what we're seeing with Tornado Cash is that they're going after the developers. But I don't think that these two systems are comparable, and that the developers should be liable for the tools that they've worked on, because these tools depend on the network effect of the user base, while the banking sector does not depend on the user base because it is itself a black box. And because of that, I think that the developers shouldn't be seen as liable. What does privacy mean to me deep down? I think privacy generally is a very intuitive subject. So people who really believe in privacy, although we can rationalize it, and there are many reasonable and rational reasons to believe in it, it's also very emotional and intuitive, because I think that we know deep down, and that's how I feel, that privacy is absolutely necessary for humans to be sovereign and to have the freedom that they deserve. And by not having privacy, having less privacy, we need to trust that our data will be used for good, and will not be used to harm some people that cannot meet the level of information that is requested by whatever authority. And unfortunately, I think time has proven over and over again that we cannot really trust that policies are aligned with what we believe are good and what should reasonably be pursued.
Do you have any last words to share?
Any last words to share? I think the privacy tech scene is at a very pivotal moment right now, and it's a very difficult kind of almost identity crisis for the space, because a lot of us come from a cypherpunk background, and we would like to see privacy on chain, because if crypto is money should be fungible and should be anonymous, but it is not the case on the blockchain. And the blockchain offers this financial system that is global, unlike any other system that exists currently. And I think that we should be very careful with what we compromise and on what base. And I think it is very legitimate, and we should pursue fight against crimes, and we should not want to associate with bad actors. All of these are very legitimate, and this is something to be kept in mind no matter what we build. But on the other hand, we should also try to build better mechanisms to fight against the crime, because currently I don't think that the sanction system that is in place mainly by the United States government, and also the KYC system that has been stewarded by a whole industry, but also by the Financial Action Task Force, is necessarily the solution to combat these crimes, because it's just enough to look at the landscape and see that crime is still happening, money laundering is still happening, and bad actors, terrorists, still have access to resources. So I don't think that whatever system exists right now has been dealing with this subject successfully, and I think we can do better and we should do better.